Welcome back to the workshop where we're continuing to work on the Gremlin build, and we didn't have an update last week. My little girl had a birthday, so I wasn't able to shoot an update for you guys. I apologize for that, but this week we'll have a little bit longer update for you. So you can see the first thing that we did earlier 2 weeks ago is we started disassembling the vehicle just because I needed to get these inner fenders mounted up, and it was a lot easier if we went ahead and pulled the motor out, pull the hood off. I got the hood sitting over here, the motor sitting on the table. So then I was able to get in and really get into mounting up the inner fenders, along with adding the material we needed to kind of close those gaps to the frame rail. And I added a couple layers, just trying to give a little bit of depth. You can see did it on both sides. And now if I come around to this side, let me see if I can give you a look. Now we closed up those holes that used to be here. You used to be able to see through the frame rail into the engine bay. That's closed up now. So we've got a nice complete inner fender on both sides. You can also see I went ahead and gave the whole thing a shot of primer. I figured while we had it disassembled, I'd go ahead and do that. That'll give us a nice coating of a solid color. This is the best way to really start seeing those imperfections. So you can see the imperfections here on these glue lines we have for the radiator support, where I nicked it here while I was cutting out for the radiator. I hit a nick right there, so that really stands out. Back here on the firewall, we're going to need to do a little work. You can see, but this all really stands out when you give it a nice solid color. I like to go ahead and just use primer, a bit of a flat tone of a solid color. Really makes those imperfections stand out. You know where you need to go in and smooth it out, really clean it up. And I wanted to do that. I wanted to, I guess, get this front end essentially cab forward, or the fenders forward. All this really kind of buttoned up before we move to the back. That way I can just kind of turn the vehicle around. So when I do filming, we're just working on the back side, and the front side will be taken care of. So we'll be able to get that buttoned up. Now I also went ahead and mocked up a new grill. So I added a little bit of space. It's hard to see. I wish I had a little better light, but you can actually see through these the slats of the grill a little better now. To see the bit of a detail behind there. If the sun was shining in there, you could definitely see it. I also increased the overall size of the grill, and now this thing pressure fits in here perfectly. So to me it fits. It fits in there just perfectly. It's just pressure fit in. You can't pull it out unless you got him on the backside and popped it out. So I think it's gonna hold in there nicely, just like this. So that's kind of, I guess you could say, our final grill mock-up. Now you can see my printer just isn't good enough to get all the detail of the shop logo here for an emblem on the grill. So I'm going to have it printed again by either somebody or a company or whatever with a resin printer, or a printer that can print higher detail. But the mock-up, or this is exactly what the grill is going to be like. So we've got that finalized. Also, it went ahead and did the headlights. I've got the buckets popped out so we can take a look. It was very simple. I'm using the stock headlight buckets. I just drilled out that there used to be a little fake looking light in here. I drilled it out and actually put an LED in, and then that mounts behind. And I'm just going to use the stock lenses. I think they're going to work just fine. The stock lenses, I think they look fine. Of course, you can let me know what you think down below. You think those are going to work for us just fine. Also, another question I had for you guys is, everything you see gray here is going to be body color, which we were doing. The plan was to do a forest green, I think, maybe like a British racing green, that dark green kind of color. And then the wheels are blacked out. And then I was going to go ahead and do the grill black. And so it's going to be just dark green and black. But I didn't know what I wanted to do with these kind of, I don't know, these side grills or whatever you would call this side accent. I wanted to leave this. I don't think I want to smooth them out. We can smooth this out if we wanted to, or do I want to black this out also, or should this be body color? Let me pose that to the comments down below. We got three options, I think. Of course, if you come up with a different option, leave it down there also. But I think the three main options are, do we just smooth this out so that it's smooth like the top side here, just get rid of these ribs, and then of course just do it body color? Do we match the black of the grill to black out these side grills, just like the main grill, or do we leave the grills and just do it body color and just black out the main grill in the middle? I don't know. You guys let me know what you think down in the comment sections. But we do have the lights done, the grill done. So basically this whole front section's buttoned up. The bumper we made for this is done. So that's all finished up. And now we just need to go in and clean up some of the little imperfections, and we'll take care of that. That's not a problem. The other thing I wanted to take care of was finishing up the motor. So basically the motor, I think, is pretty much done. We needed to button up the spark plug end of the plug wires. And I went ahead and just did 2 of those. This I did yesterday with a little bit of time I had. So this is what the final product looked like. So I had left these like it was, so we can kind of see what we had and what we went to with the final product here. And if I tilt the motor a little bit, I can give a closer look than I was able to yesterday. Hopefully you can see there's what looks like, hopefully at least looks like spark plug boots down in there where they terminate. Of course, we'll do the same thing on the other 6 cylinders. And the way, I'll give a little closer look at how I did this. So it was actually very simply just kind of printed a curved piece. Let me see if I can give you a little bit. It's just curved a little bit. It's a cylinder or a tube, I guess, that's curved. I just 3D printed these. And then I glued that. Basically, I cut the wires and glued it to the butt end of the wire, basically just to hold it in place while I put a little piece of heat shrink on it. So that's what you can see is the heat shrink there. This heat shrink's really that and a little bit of CA glue, but the heat shrink I think is mainly what's holding that firm in place. And then what I figured, I didn't want to go in and really, because I've got the engine block already painted, I didn't want to go and tear it up by having to try to carefully sand down in behind down in there behind the headers. So what I actually did, and what worked out pretty well, let me see if I can get this to sit for us. I put in some glue. I actually glued these boots to the header itself. So I just used a toothpick, applied some glue on the back side of this header pipe here, and then held them in place. And that gives a better gluing surface and a better glue up than trying to go onto the little bit where it touches to the engine block itself. Now those are sitting there pretty solid. It looks like, literally to me, it looks like they go right into where the spark plugs would be on the engine block. But I think we've got a better, and that's been the challenge, by the way, guys, with these plug wires, is just making good, solid connections on the distributor side and on the spark plug side. Because when you're dealing with these little wires, it's not much glue point, and the heat shrink that we used on the distributor and on the spark plug side, I think that was really the answer. That really kind of shores up that bond there and gives us a good, solid connection. Because on the original, if I bring back the original, let me grab it over here. The problem I was having, you can even see, here it is. They kept pulling loose. So I found that the best way to do it was CA glue and heat shrink, and it made for makes for a really solid connection. Anyways, so that's going to be having the motor, I think, pretty much complete. I do still want to pop this filter off, and I think go a little bit larger with it. I think I just want to go a little bigger than that. We're also going to be adding a lot of small wiring. I want to add the fuel lines coming off of the fuel rails here. Just all those little details. We'll do all that in the car, and I think we'll do all that in the car after it's painted. I don't want to try to be fighting paint. I can't add that stuff outside the car. I need to add it inside the car because it needs to run different places. But I also don't want to put the motor in and then try to do body paint around it, if that makes sense. So what I think I'm going to do is just finish up the spark plug wires. We'll go ahead and put the motor back in just for filming purposes, just to have it there so it looks good. But we'll end up pulling the motor back out, painting body color, putting the motor in again, and then running all those small details. But I think that'll be in the future after we start working on the back side of the car. So what I think I'll do, I'll button up the rest of these plugs today, get the motor back in, and then starting next week, we'll start working on the back side. We need to put those hinges in. We need to finish up the doors a little bit. There's a little bit of details on the doors, or a little buttoning up we need to do on the doors yet. We'll get that finished next week. And then hopefully we'll get really close to go ahead and starting to work on the interior. I think I'm going to build out the interior tub and everything for the interior before we put body color on. I just want everything complete. Last step being body color. motor in, everything in, final details. But I think we'll start working on the backside next week. Hit that subscribe button if you want to keep up with these updates. You'll get notified when they come out. Plus, I'm putting out shorts every day. Every day at 3 o'clock, there will be at least one short of what we got done for that day. Actually, I got this question on a previous short, or at least a comment. I get about an hour and a half a day to work on this. So that's what I do. I put about an hour in, and then when I'm done, I film a short, and you get to see what we actually got done for that day. I've been trying to do that every day, Monday through Friday. Sometimes you'll get 2 shorts in the day if it's more than just what I can get into one. But anyways, and then I'll do the full update on Saturdays, like what you just saw here. I hope that's a good format for you guys. Of course, let me know down below if there's a different way you'd like to see it. Leave me those comments. Hit that like button if you would. Of course, hit the subscribe button. And I will see you guys on Monday.